Hey, how you doing? Got some scattered thoughts for you. How you doing? How you doing? Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you're watching this. Thank you for watching this. Thanks for tuning in. Got a couple of good ones to talk about here. First one. There was a video that was put out by We the Hobby email about We the Hobby, and it was a. They got some pretty good social media content, gotta say. I know, the breaking companies catch flack because some of the content is garbage, but like We the Hobby, Swish Breaks, they put out some good stuff. I gotta say, tip my cap to them. We the Hobby was interviewing people at a card show, and it happened to be Brian Gray, Brian the Deal Guy, formerly of Leaf Cards, at the he was at a table selling at the card show, and he had an amazing quote that he borrowed from Orson Welles, and I'll get to that in a sec, what he said, but he was talking about how he's got some really rare cards that no one knows about. And I believe him. Guy's probably got a vault of crazy stuff that people know about, and then also some people don't know about. And you would think, well, why aren't you showing it? And it's a brilliant move, because not only if it's a super rare card that people are waiting for, or people don't think is out there, or they still think it's in a pack, the price of that is going to be crazy. And then on top of that, if you start hinting at it, part of the weight gets baked into that price. You're selling the weight, you're selling the hype, and then when you actually show it, and if you build it up the right way, I mean, you might get someone with like an instant buy that'll end up buying it for 10 times what it's worth. Not saying you want to rip someone off, but I mean, this hobby has gotten so crazy that there will be people that are well off that will just be like, yeah, I want it, I need it, name your price, or I'm just gonna buy it at this, and they'll just buy it because they can. And his Brian's line was, as said by Orson Welles from the Paul Masson commercials, the California winery down in Saratoga, Cupertino. Serve no wine before it's time, meaning it's got to be just perfect, well aged. Now, it can go both ways, though, right? If you wait too long, just like wine is great, but some wine can get corked and really suck afterwards, and it's a ruined bottle. And nothing's worse than, you're at a nice dinner, you buy a nice bottle of wine, and it's corked, and you're like, oh my goodness. Because you can't return the wine, right? What are you going to do? It's dead. It's it. There's some freaks out there that would drink that, though. I know that. I used to be one of those people. But then I was, no longer 21. However, I think that's a really awesome way to look at it. Serve no wine before it's time. And if there is that super rare card that's out there, then save it, Everyone doesn't have to know it's there, and it's kind of exciting. Especially imagine if you have that card, right? And every now and then it gets brought up, like, oh, does this card exist? And you're like, I have that card, but it's like that meme where someone's at a party and like they don't know they don't know that I'm this, And usually it's like something stupid, but imagine like you're at a party and it's like, you're that meme, and it's like, they don't know that I have this card. That would be awesome. And I'm just trying to think, like, off the top of my head, what some of those cards would be. Most of them probably one of ones, or like one up to like one of five, right? Maybe not even. Definitely got to be at a one of one, or one of one, without a doubt. But yeah, that was well said by Brian, I got to say. Another thing I wanted to talk about was a lot of people are talking about, you know, well, not a lot. It's a constant conversation, rather. That's the best way to frame it. It's a constant convo of like, oh, when's the bubble going to burst, or collectibles going to fail, or when's the price going to go down, when are these hobby markets gonna stop? And I don't think it ever is going to stop, especially anytime soon. I think we're safe for another decade. And here's the reason why I think this. Because I remember back in COVID, when people were lining up, I had some health issues and I had to do my grocery store shopping during the immunocompromised time period. That was like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. And the Target would open early, and you had to show like your medical card to get in, at least for the Target that I was going to, and the Whole Foods that I went to. And then same thing with Stop and Shop. Costco didn't give a shit. They were like, yeah, come on in. Like, oh, you're sick? Oh, okay. But and don't get me wrong, it was cool to get in, but like when you're sick, the last thing you want to do is have to go grocery shopping, right? So, and this was before I met my wife. Once I met my wife, then it was like, she took care of me and, got lucky. Anyway, the reason why collectibles are not slowing down anytime soon is because it's the flipping culture. And these collectibles, everything feels like a collectible now. Everything feels like it's flippable. Those are the working class and middle class assets to the wealthy people's, compounding assets, right? Now, the one thing is, though, is that when you have cards, they're not like compounding like, artwork and property, and then also stocks give you back dividends. I mean, cards give you an emotional dividend that a stock couldn't give you, right? With cards and other collectibles, there's like a sense of pride of owning it, right? It gives you like happiness. I mean, last time I checked, my stock account, I'd be like, oh yeah, those shares just bring me joy. I mean, they do to a degree, but not like a card, right? Not like an action figure that you absolutely love. Like, to all my figure collectors out there, a Superman Hot Toys, right? Holy shit, like that's a crazy figure, right? Anything from Hot Toys is crazy. Hot Toys is a Japanese figure maker, and it's artisanal, let me tell you. Anyway, collectibles now are the lower class asset. It's the lower middle class asset. And as someone myself who's a middle class person, I can see that. I can relate to that. And also, if you talk to the average American, crypto's too complicated. A crypto wallet, what? And then the stock market's rigged. You buy collectibles and then hope that the price goes up while you're owning it so you can sell it. You can sell it on eBay. You can sell it on Facebook Marketplace. Heck, you don't even need a freaking bank account to sell it. You can just do straight up cash. It's, it kind of makes sense where when we see when we see like the high-end auctions for collectibles, yes, like a lot of the Knicks memorabilia was going up. I remember Will Stern had some pretty awesome stuff about certain collectibles are being bought up. Yes, that's not slowing down either, because that's where a lot of rich people are buying collectibles to park their wealth, as they should. It's an asset class. Just as Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, said, cards is a new asset class. But that's like, there's a line. when like there's cards like these cards where it's like, low grade inserts that no one really wants, and then, and just overall cardboard, and then you hit a line of like super high end that it's either, you would buy a couple hundred shares of Apple stock or that card, right? So I don't see the idea of collectibles slowing down to be true, or slowing down soon, because we call them collectibles, but they're really not. They're flippables. They're lightweight investments. They're dressed up as a collectible because that's what people buy them, or that's what they were originally created for. But they're really flippable assets, penny stocks, in the form of cardboard, plastic, that could be bought at Target, Walmart, Walgreens, you name it. Genovese, to all my old school heads out there that know what that reference means. If you know what that reference means, let me know. So yeah, I was just thinking about that today, just in terms of as something that spawned from the collector versus investor conversation, right? And lightweight assets, flippables. That's kind of how I'm identifying them. So there's more to this conversation as time goes on. So, but I'm also someone that doesn't want to beat shit like a dead horse. So I'll talk about it like this, and that's really it. And maybe a couple of times. I don't really care. Now this is where the fun starts. Yeah, another card idea. Another great card idea. This is for Topps and Panini. Because Panini, where's my hot, sexy garbage? I just got some new hot, sexy garbage. I'll share it later. Is it over here? No, I put it away. New card idea in the parallel department. We're still in the parallel department. Last time I had the Conglomerafractor, where you take all the designs from that release year and put them all together into one ultimate card. This one's a little different. Introduce a parallel design that is only printed every other year, every 4 years, something along those lines. We always think scarcity is due to physical, like print run, right? Every year. What about time scarcity? Like, oh, this one's only, and use the same psychological engine that we do for World Cup, which is happening now, the Olympics, every 4 years. And we'll realize, oh, every 4 years. That's the feather fractor parallel. I'm just throwing that out there. You want to talk about scarcity? How awesome would that be? Now, knowing, Topps, it would be like, well, every year now gets its own thing. I'm just talking about one. Just throw in one. It happens every 4 years or however many years, but there is some scarcity to that. It doesn't happen every year. And it's only one, and it just happens to land on that year, and some rookies get it, and obviously other rookies won't because it won't be their year. It is what it is. I think that's a pretty awesome idea. So, and I said feather fractor. That would be pretty sick to have a feather style, like the blades of a feather across the card like that in a holographic view. That would be beautiful. That'd be sick. And especially if you get it like on a Ravens card or an Orioles card or any kind of bird team card, right? That'd be pretty sick. Anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Ciao.